Welcome back to Business Boone, a product of the Boone County Chamber and hosted by Deep End Talent Strategies. I'm Shauna Lake.
And I'm Lauren Byram, and today we are joined by Katie Barr, who is the town manager of Whitestown. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So one thing that we like to ask all of our guests before we dive in is, if your life was titled a movie, what would it be titled?
My life right now would be titled Walking a Tightrope with Heels On
Nice.
and a Big Smile.
I love that. I think that's the most creative
I
one
think
we've
so
heard.
too. Now I'd love to know why.
Absolutely. So being the town manager of one of the fastest growing communities,
Yeah.
I'm constantly balancing priorities, balancing residents, infrastructure, growth, politics. So it's like walking a tightrope.
That's so.
And of course, I'm a female, so I wear heels a lot, and I love to be positive and bring an enthusiastic environment
Yeah.
and culture to the town of Whitestown. So that's why I would say walking a tightrope with heels and a big smile.
I love that so much.
I do too. That kind of makes my day. I love that
Yeah.
statement.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to hear more about walking the tightrope. Before we dive in, tell us just a little bit more about you and your background.
Absolutely. So I came to the town in 2022. Actually, 2022.
That time frame blurs for me too.
It
so
does.
it's okay.
It does. In 2022, as the first director of human resources, I have a strong background in operations and HR. So I was in charge of a large-scale manufacturing plant in my previous life, is what I call it. And then in 2024, I became the town manager for Whitestown. I have a bachelor's in business and then my minor's in accounting. So I'm extremely familiar with budgets, policies, procedures, things like that, as well as empowering a team, building teams around me to help the better cause of the business, or in this situation, the town.
Yeah.
Nice. It sounds like your background just prepared you perfectly for that
did.
role.
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah. And the town is growing, so
It is
I love
growing
it.
very rapidly.
It
We're
really is.
extremely excited, aligning our goals with that growth, making sure that we're staying ahead of it instead of being reactive. We try to be proactive with the infrastructure and things like that, so that Whitestown can stay safe and manageable for years to come.
Yeah. I love it so much. So for those who don't know what a town manager is, can you kind of tell us a little about what your role does? You talked about your background, but kind of tell us what the day-to-day life is, if you can.
So absolutely. So a town manager is kind of like the COO, Chief Operating Officer. So I'm in charge of the day-to-day operations within the town. So I manage staff. Council gives me directives or a vision, writes policies. It's my job to implement that, give them suggestions, prepare infrastructure, talk to developers, plan projects, help new businesses when they come to Whitestown, economic development, and make sure that our utilities, sewer and water, is being provided to the residents, and assist public safety as well to make sure that the community stays thriving, safe, and is sustainable for the years to come.
Yeah.
Might have been easier to say, what do you not do?
Yeah, right.
Related to the
True.
town.
Correct.
It's true.
You mentioned Whitestown being a fast-growing community, and I think those of us who live in or near it, feel that. But can you put that into perspective for us, Whitestown's growth? How does it compare to other towns or averages?
Absolutely. In 2000, we had a couple hundred people. Now we're in 2026, and we have around 15,000.
Wow.
So we're growing rapidly. We expect our population around 2035 to 2040 to be around 30,000. So when you do the math, we're almost 30 times within a 30-year time frame of what our population will be. Whitestown right now is currently a very transient community. When I say transient, I mean that people live in Whitestown, but they leave to go play or to go work. So one of the things that this council and myself are really focused on is making Whitestown more attracted for people to want to live, work, and play in Whitestown. So that's really a good focus. So the numbers around 15,000, they fluctuate. So just because I say we have 15,000 residents, on any given day, we might have 30,000 people in our community because they're coming into work and leaving as well.
Yes, there are so many jobs in Whitestown.
Absolutely, and more on the way.
Yeah, there really are. I used to work over in that area in Whitestown, so I've seen the growth, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you think about pacing growth? Because you talked about everything that's coming and that you are growing, but how do you think about pacing it in a way that remains sustainable for residents and business and then the town staff? Because as you grow, you have to obviously grow your staff too.
Absolutely. So we're really focused on alignment. So aligning the infrastructure, making sure that we have the proper infrastructure, making sure we have the proper staff to support the growth.
Yeah.
If we don't have those things in place, all we're doing is creating problems for the future, which is something that this council is really big on, is sustainability for years to come. So we're not focused on necessarily 2, 3, 5 years out. We're looking 15, 20, 30 years out. So it's a very forward-thinking mindset. To make sure that we're proactive instead of reactive. And a lot of communities can get sucked into that reactive mode because your growth is going so rapidly. So it's making those good, solid decisions when businesses are coming to town and incentives that the town will offer. It's making those good decisions that help us ensure that we can have the infrastructure properly in place and town staff in place to be able to support it.
I think people probably have opinions on what they would like to see or should happen, and don't really appreciate how complex municipal operations are. What are some of the behind-the-scenes functions that you think are most critical to quality of life in Whitestown?
Absolutely. So staff manages the streets, street signs, stoplights, sewer, your water, trees. The town owns property in the right-of-ways. We're responsible for keeping that clean. Some of the medians, weed eating, things like that. We make sure that people have the proper permits, so when businesses come to town that they're being permitted properly as far as building and then opening their business. Liquor licenses, all of that falls under the town jurisdiction, not to include most importantly is public safety as well. So when you walk out your front door and you look at your road, it's the town that's servicing that road. It's the town that's snow plowing. Snow in March, isn't it lovely? And salting. But we're also making sure that their drinking water is clean and pure, and the wastewater is being processed properly and working properly. So there's a lot of different things that go on behind the scenes that people just aren't aware of. When a new business comes to town, they've got to go through the right process with permitting and primary plats and construction, because we do have ordinances that the town council sets that we have to follow, which is kind of like laws. For people who aren't aware, ordinances are kind of like laws that the town council sets. So town staff and I have to make sure that those laws are being followed and the process is being followed through the various boards, Planning Commission, BZA, the zoning. All of that falls upon the town staff to conduct.
I didn't realize you did all of that.
It's pretty exciting when you really dig into it. It's a lot of fun. Staff wears a lot of different hats, as do myself. So it's exciting because you get to learn all the inner workings, and I always encourage people, come in and spend the day. I love to be job shadowed. We've done things within the schools where students who are interested in local government come in and job shadow me for the day, and they get to see the different moving parts within the town. There's never a dull moment. There's always a project of some sort going on, and it's extremely busy.
I can only imagine.
That's fascinating, and the invitation to have people come in is very kind of you.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about businesses coming and the permits that they have to pull and things like that. But let's think about the collaboration that businesses have with the town. So what would a successful collaboration look like for you with local businesses in the community? What does that look like?
So we meet with businesses. So when a business actually wants to come to town, they submit through our developmental services department, our planning department, as far as make sure that they have proper zoning. We walk them through that process, their primary plat, their construction designs, make sure all of that. We work as a unit, so we're really big on establishing relationships, and we want to work together. The town is looking for partners. We're a partnership is how we look at the local businesses. Talking to them, even once they're in business, getting out in front of them and talking to them, understanding what their challenges are, removing any obstacles that are unneeded, and fostering that vision of what they would like to see Whitestown become as well, because they're a part of Whitestown. And so getting them engaged and keeping them engaged and listening to them is extremely important as well.
Terrific.
I love that.
What leadership, this is probably a very broad question, but from your perspective as a former recovering HR professional is what we say as HR professionals, and in the seat that you're in now, what leadership skills do you think are essential for somebody who is in such a visible, high accountability role?
I think communication, integrity, and strategic decision making. You have a lot of priorities that are coming at you. Everybody needs something from Katie. Or has questions for Katie, and it's prioritizing projects, understanding that you have to be forward-minded thinking. Decisions are made for the best of the town, not for staff and Katie, it's for the residents. And you truly have to understand that and truly understand what public servant is. My leadership style is I'm a servant leader, so that fits the style of being a public servant. And it's understanding that, making decisions with integrity. Some people don't like what your answer is or what decision it is, but I can always hold my head up high and know that I have kept my integrity, my morals, and my values. That's important to me as a person. Being in the political field of the public, you have to keep your integrity to be trustworthy, and trustworthiness is extremely crucial, not only with the residents but with the staff, with council, and other political leaders across the region.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So for, residents and business leaders wanted to engage with you or engage with Whitestown in the future. What are the most meaningful ways that they can do that?
So we have a website, an awesome website that the PR team has done a remarkable job with. It's www.whitestown.in.gov. We have social media. We are constantly posting on social media what's going on. The different departments have different pages within our Whitestown homepage, so they can look on there. We have GIS, where if somebody's wanting to know what is going on a certain plot of land, they can go into the GIS and they can look at it.
That's great.
Most importantly, engage with the town. Come to public meetings, come to council meetings, volunteer to be on one of our boards or commissions, stop by town hall, say hello, send an email, ask questions. I'm big on that. I would rather you ask the question and get facts than to just assume. So it's totally about engaging, and there's so much information out there. If you have a question, don't be ashamed. A stupid question is one that's not asked, has been my mentality.
I like that.
So ask the question so that you can get the proper facts. But we've got a lot of outlets out there. We're on every social media platform. The staff is extremely friendly. That's something that we pride ourselves in, is being there. We're truly there for the residents. So reach out. Run for office. If you want to make a change, run for office. Be an elected official. Be on a board. Engage. Just engage.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Terrific. Thank you. Don't just sit on your couch and complain and scroll through social media.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do not. Social media is not something that I'm highly involved with. I have a PR team that takes care of that. But in today's times with social media, so many people, I think, have the misconception that it's for bad. And my family has a saying, we call it fact book. Oh, if it's on Facebook, it's facts. And anytime I get on social media, I just cringe at the misinformation that's being shared. And that's why I always encourage people, if you have a question, ask it. Come to a council meeting, ask the council if you have a question about something that they're going to vote on or what they're doing, or send me an email. Come in. I'm always willing to meet with residents. Ask the question, because of that social media platform not always being used in positive. And I'm a very positive person, so I hate to see that negative image being spread.
Yep. Thank you. I think you've offered great advice and educated us a lot about municipalities and the city of Whitestown, the town of Whitestown. We always like to end by asking our guests, what is something that you know now that you wish you had known earlier in your career?
You can't make everybody happy. As long as you make decisions with integrity, the best decision for the company, town, employees, whatever your decision's focused on, As long as you make the best decision for the long term, you're not going to make everybody happy. You have to have thick skin and understand that, but be willing to stand behind your decision. Explain your decision. Be willing to stand behind it, explain it, and justify why you made that decision.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice for our young professionals these days, because it is hard. It is a hard lesson to learn.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know people of all ages that have a hard time saying no.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Absolutely. It toughens you up.
It really does.
Yeah, it does.
So if our listeners wanted to get a hold of you to connect on whatever's going on in Whitestown, or just to get some advice from you as a leader, how could they do that?
Absolutely. Feel free to send me an email at kbarr, KBARR, @whitestown.in.gov.
Okay.
Stop by Town Hall.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if I'm not in a meeting or whatever, I love to hear from residents or students if they have questions, or reach out to any member of my staff. They're always willing to speak and educate as well.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank
Katie,
you.
it's been a great conversation. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.
Yes, thank you.
And we will be back with more insightful conversations. Until then, continue leading and growing with purpose.